Hey there guys, this is Louis, here to remind you to smash that motherfucking like button. Be sure to get on Twitter and engage in those dank maymays. And while you're at it, be sure to head on over to J-List and Play Asia using my affiliate link in the description. Be sure to pre-order Mass Effect Andromeda from EA, but otherwise, links will be in the description.
So this is Louis, and now that I'm caught up on the fucking reports that I had to turn in, I figure I take a minute here to talk about Mass Effect Andromeda, the hit sequel to the bombastic Mass Effect franchise, which every day, or I should say every time that they release some kind of new video, new screenshots, new whatever, there are people that, easily find something about the game, something about what they see that is, just incredible or just cringy as shit. I don't want people to see this as a complaint, but I have more requests than ever at this point to talk about this game and to talk about BioWare. I know that I promised a while back to do a video on BioWare where I go into detail about my position in that I believe that the company is going to be eventually consolidated in the way that Maxis was into EA, where they maintain some kind of team which they may use for something. If there is going to be a team that's retained, it's likely going to be the SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic team in Austin, Texas, until that game eventually closes, which it is on its way to doing so because the game is not growing in terms of a population size. Despite the good content, in my opinion, that they're adding to the game, they're not growing in terms of a subscriber base. Any, major MMO that is updating constantly, bringing in new content, and not actually retaining a subscriber base, let alone growing one, that is a game that is going to be closed because it is not going to be profitable anymore for maintaining the size of the development team that they have in Austin, which, if I understand correctly, is a pretty decent-sized team that they have going on for the content that they're creating constantly. So you can't maintain that with a game that's not growing, or at least sustaining a decent-sized player base, and they're not. That game is diminishing pretty fucking fast. So with that in mind, you have to look at the Edmonton and the other fucking office, wherever the fuck the other one is. They have two offices in Canada, and one of which is a full-sized fucking team for multiple games, for multiple franchises. And they're not doing anything with Dragon Age. I could go through the 100 fucking articles of all the people that have left that team that were from Dragon Age Inquisition that were not replaced from what I've seen. And that should spell out something of where they are right now with the next fucking major fucking release from Dragon Age that goes nowhere, that sells worse than Dragon Age Inquisition, which didn't sell well. I never saw anything about Dragon Age Inquisition coming anywhere close to the original Dragon Age in terms of sales, or in terms of hype, or in terms of recognition. Nothing. Inquisition came out and died in about a month. That's the exact opposite of what they need as a company. And with Mass Effect Andromeda, which is the only thing they have going other than this mysterious IP that people like to insist to me is going on, which I think is just a crapshoot. I don't think they're actually working on anything that's ever going to see the light of day. So there's no point in speculating of whether, it's the next Jade Empire sequel. It's the fucking KOTOR sequel that everyone's just waiting with bated breath for them to come out with. You got a better chance of Obsidian making the next fucking KOTOR than BioWare, okay? I don't understand why you fucking people are just continuing on with this fucking fantasy that this company is ever going to do anything in the way that they used to do it. You fucking people are out of your minds. You see companies like CD Projekt Red that are bigger than ever, that continue to top themselves sequel after sequel, with just, so far, one franchise. Every fucking sequel they release, it gets bigger, they make more money, they have more and more awards, they're bigger than ever, they have name recognition out the ass, they're growing the size of their dev team, they are profitable as shit. And now they're coming out with Cyberpunk 2077, which I guarantee you, if they market correctly and if it's a good enough game, it will be bigger than Mass Effect ever was. It will be bigger than The Witcher ever was. Because shooters, in terms of RPG shooters that are set in sci-fi, they have more potential than fantasy. And that is not me speaking ill of fantasy. I'm just speaking to the matter of the fact of what market exists for sci-fi shooters compared to fantasy. There's a bigger market for what they are creating than what they have created. And they are topping themselves with every fucking sequel that they're releasing. CD Projekt Red is what BioWare should have been. BioWare as a company is fucking dead. Their legacy is over. They are nothing anymore to anyone. And anyone that says otherwise is out of their fucking mind. Dragon Age 2 was a bad sequel that sold horrifically. Mass Effect 3 was a sequel that sold decently, but had a PR disaster after the first few days of fucking launch that didn't go away for months on end. Mass Effect 3 was a massive PR disaster. Following that, you had SWTOR. I'm willing to defend SWTOR, but there are many, many people out there that will pan it. And it wasn't really received all that well by critics. So SWTOR, despite its success, had a big fucking investment. It cost a lot of fucking money and a big investment in terms of advertising before that game even hit the shelves. And while it made a profit, it definitely didn't make a big enough profit to just guarantee 9 more fucking sequels of all these different games that aren't cutting it, that aren't making any fucking money, that aren't growing any kind of player base. Then you have Dragon Age Inquisition, which, as a franchise with Dragon Age, it's a joke, okay? It never came close to being what Mass Effect was, and Mass Effect is still a niche fucking franchise. It never made it out of being what it was, a BioWare game that certain people played. Dragon Age Inquisition did not sell to expectation. I can guarantee you that EA was not happy with how Dragon Age Inquisition sold. It wasn't well received by anyone that wasn't a fucking critic, a journo, or anyone with a shred of taste. It is the worst game that I have ever fucking played. And I mean that. I mean that when I say that it is the worst game that I have ever played, because I cannot finish it. I have tried many times, and I will no longer. I've tried many times to finish it, and I am incapable of finishing Dragon Age Inquisition because of how bad the game is. It is awful. It is irredeemable. It is indefensible despite the people that want to defend it. It is the worst game I have ever played. And that was their last fucking title. You have their very next title, Mass Effect Andromeda, which has received nothing but criticism following them closing their own forums. All you have is this sequel. That is all you have in the near future. You have nothing else, nothing on the horizon but this apparent terrible sequel. It utilizes, based on what I've seen, many of the aspects of Dragon Age Inquisition that make it an unbearable, unfinishable, awful fucking game with a sci-fi spin. That's not going to cut it. And so as it relates to this issue of Mass Effect, I have very little to say. I have very little to add than what I'm telling you right now. I could go in depth and explain the exact numbers and the exact story of myself, my relationship with this company, and where it is now. The timeline of where it was to where it is now. But what point does that serve? I have almost zero interest in ever playing this fucking game in relation to Mass Effect Andromeda. As I've said on Twitter, the trailers that I've seen of this video game do not move me in any way. They don't make me feel happy or sad or inspired or excited or anything. Not even angry. They don't inspire any emotion from me. As someone that was once a massive fan of this franchise. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you when the trailers for the next sequel draw zero emotion from me? What does that tell you about me and where I am with Mass Effect? As I said on Twitter, it's like I've never been a fan. It's like I've never played these games. You want to hear what motivation I do have? You want to hear what actually inspires me to even give a shit about BioWare or Mass Effect Andromeda at this point? You want to hear what it is? The idea that maybe if I do a video about BioWare or Mass Effect Andromeda, that it'll draw views. It'll be good for my channel. It'll be good for, raising some fucking revenue from AdSense. That's my fucking inspiration to give a fucking shit about this. Because I have no other reason to care. Other than the views. Other than people clicking and saying, yeah, fuck Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, what happened to BioWare? What happened to this fucking company? What point is there even in me talking about this? What point is there in terms of you even caring about what I have to say? Who cares about this fucking franchise anymore? Who cares about this fucking dead company? Who cares? The best that we can hope for in this situation is for EA to put this company out of its misery, because it is incapable of producing a decent game. Not a good game, a decent game. They are incapable because they lack the talent to actually put that game out. Every single fucking title that they've released in the last fucking going on 10 years has resulted in an exodus of fucking talent. They lack the talent to make a decent game because of every sequel they've put out has been worse than the one before it, and people have left the company as a result of what's been going on there. BioWare is a terrible company, both in terms of working for, apparently, because of everyone fucking quitting the company, but also in terms of actually developing a decent game. And because of that, you will see what happened to Maxis happen to BioWare. It is inevitable. It is a massive company with multiple fucking studios that produces nothing. What are they making? What are they producing? What are they selling? Nothing. How many fucking years can go by before this company actually releases something? And here we are, a month out from when they are finally releasing a new title. When they are actually, they've actually completed a fucking project. It isn't going to matter. Other than some advertisements on YouTube, I haven't seen anything about this fucking game anywhere. They got some fucking story in the news now. It makes them a laughingstock. Where they're bragging about the fact that they got their fucking, they have their mild fucking kissing, animations in the game. And how scandalous that is. Oh man, we're back in Mass Effect 1 days where we're going to go on Fox News and get all riled up about it. What world are you guys living in? What world are they living in? What world are the press living in? And then you have outlets like Polygon trying to spit shine this fucking turd. Trying to sell this fucking dud of a game. And, they have to make themselves into massive hypocrites in order to do it. And that's no surprise. I don't expect these people to be principled in any way. This is all just convenience in terms of spreading their ideology or enriching themselves. And they're trying to shill what is unequivocally a bad product. That's all there is to it. Other than these occasional fucking fluff pieces and occasional fucking news stories, there's no hype behind this game. There's nothing pushing this game forward. There is no excitement, and there is not the ad bombardment that we saw with SWTOR and even Dragon Age Inquisition. There's no ad bombardment, and we are less than a month away from fucking release. There's nothing behind this game. There's no one excited to play it. It's constantly being mocked on social media and online and on Reddit. This game is a joke, and there is no light at the end of this tunnel. This game is not going to dig BioWare out of their hole, and it is all they are releasing in the foreseeable future. This company will close, if not by the end of this year, then next year, because they will not have released anything in that time period. They have nothing but this game, and it will likely be a disaster for them, because no one's going to pick it up. Because if I, as a one-time hardcore fan of this company, have no interest in playing their game, then I can't imagine a whole lot of other people actually have. that interest, that actually want to play this game, that's being incessantly mocked for its terrible appearance. People can feel free to say how I'm wrong, but I'm not the deluded one. You people are. You can't actually recognize where this company is and where the industry is and where this market is, where it is now, and what's on the horizon, what's already out there that isn't selling, that is an awful lot like Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a franchise, had an opportunity to be a breakout hit, to be a huge, potentially, multi-million, multi-billion dollar franchise. That time passed in like 2010. It died then. It's the current year, ladies and gentlemen, and this company has no future. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for listening.